I looked at that bill, and that one was $530, and I said, how are we supposed to pay this much money?
Electricity bills.
$621.16.
That sound more like monthly mortgage payments.
$693.90 for a house that's vacant.
There have been public protests and private complaints. The Utilities Commission says complaints filed against Avista are up 300%. And for the last 3 weeks, there's been a steady stream of phone calls and emails into our newsroom, hundreds of them. People saying their bills are 300 or 400% higher than anything they've ever paid before.
I think that they owe the customers a valid explanation.
So why? Why the high bills? Are rate increases to blame?
Why that they increase the rates every other day, and why do they keep asking for rate increases when they're showing profits?
Well, Avista wasn't asking for a rate increase every other day, more like 3 times a year. 22 natural gas and electricity rate increase requests since January 2001. That's 22 separate occasions of Avista going to the Utilities Commission and saying, we need to raise rates. Avista's rate increases during those 8 years have raised what you pay for electricity from 3.6 cents per kilowatt hour to now 6.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Your electricity prices have nearly doubled. Put together, the 22 rate requests asked for a grand total of $421,612,297.
That seems like a heck of a lot of money. I mean, if we're talking that's $500 million almost.
Well, we're investing just $200 million every year in infrastructure. So requesting $400 million over a period of a decade in order to make those investments in the infrastructure is really being prudent.
And it only makes people even more angry when in the middle of a national recession, Avista earned $73.8 million in 2008, up from $38.5 million in 2007.
With Avista, it's kind of like a monopoly, and we can't go to some other company and say, you know, Avista's got these outrageous bills and we're going to use you instead. We don't really have an option.
You guys are in it to make a buck. I mean, you're a company.
We're investor-owned, right.
But a look at the numbers shows Avista could be charging us more.
We cannot make any kind of change in our rates, increases or decreases, without it being approved by the Commission.
By law, Avista's allowed a profit ratio of 10.2%. They almost never approach that number. This year, the company's at about 8%. Bottom line, Avista could be making more money. And you could be paying more money. A look at similarly sized cities around the U.S. and what their utility companies charge for electricity would surprise some. Avista's rate is 6.5 cents per kilowatt hour. In Madison, Wisconsin, it's almost 11 cents per kilowatt hour. In Omaha, Nebraska, almost 8 cents. In Lansing, Michigan, 10. Rochester, New York, over 12. Bigger cities like Salt Lake, Detroit, and Tucson, 7.5, 11, and almost 5. Avista's lower than almost everyone.
I think in the long run, yeah, we are getting screwed.
But locally, the picture's not quite as rosy. At 6.5 cents a kilowatt hour, Avista's rates are higher than the state's average of 6.1.
I was swearing, I'm not going to lie. I was swearing, I was like, you know, telling people about Avista and how I hate the company right now.
But these people, the ones with the big bills, they're not blaming the rates. They just say Avista billed them wrong. That they couldn't have used 400% more electricity this year than they did last.
It's impossible. It's impossible because we're not using that much.
She goes, why have you guys been using so much power? And I said, we haven't been. We've been doing all the normal stuff.
So they don't understand why their bills have gone up so much. The latest Avista rate increase, the one that took effect on January 1st, only took prices about 9% higher. And temperatures were colder this year, but only about 2 degrees colder than average. Do these two factors add up to bunches of people saying their electric bills doubled, tripled, or even quadrupled?
Why would somebody all of a sudden begin using 5 times the electricity than they've ever used before?
Well, I think that in that case, I would have to go back, or the customer should go back to their prior month bill and see if it was estimated or not.
Avista estimated hundreds of thousands of meters in December. They couldn't get to the meters to read them because of the snow, so they were forced to estimate. And customers say, many times, they estimated wrong.
Those thieves. Well, really.
But the bottom line Avista says is simple. You pay for the energy you use, and what you use is up to you.
The customer has choices in how they use the energy in their home.
Avista told us that again.
The choice in how they use energy in their home is up to them.
And again.
So the choices do reside within the homes of each customer.
I know how to use energy. I know how to save energy. I know when to turn off a light, how to keep the heat down, and just to tell me, like, to talk to me like I'm a little kid, you know, like I don't know how to, you know, use a power strip or something like that. It just angered me.
But now that anger is turning to worry.
We're afraid of what, you know, next month's going to be.